Good evening. I call the regular meeting to order on Monday, December 14, 2015 at 7:03 p.m. We now have a flag salute, and Mr. Keeler is not here. Who would be the next person to?
Mr. Cactus.
All right, Mr. Cactus will lead the flag.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pursuant to the New Jersey Local Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board in the entrance hall of the Beach Haven Municipal Building and mailing the same to the Beach Haven Times, the Asbury Park Press, and the Press of Atlantic City. Mr. Caxton.
here.
Mr. Keeler. Mr. Maskell. Mr. White.
Here.
Mayor Davis.
Here. Now could we hear the borough manager's report?
Sure, Mayor. I'll begin with the treasurer's report for the month of November 2015. Cash receipts and current fund account for the period November 1st to November 30th were $3,605,101.92. The cash balance in the current fund as of this period totaled $10,118,640.11. And the cash balance in the water utility account as of November 30th, 2015 was $2,406,460.47 submitted by our treasurer, Shari Bowler. Moving on to department reports, we did open bids, I guess, Thursday of last week for the 2014 DOT road project. That project is for the 300 block of Ingleside. The area right where the new municipal building is going to be going in. The low bidder was Mathis Construction from Little Egg. The amount bid was $294,577.05. This was one of 6 bids that were received. Even though we need to award the bid, hopefully a little bit later in this meeting, to meet state DOT guidelines, we are not going to proceed with the project, obviously, until the municipal building is much closer to completion, but we will have a brand new road in front of the building. Speaking of municipal building, that's my next topic. Anybody passing by, you can see that most of the demolition site preparation portion of the project has come to its completion. We will be opening bids on December 29th for the installation of the new piles, which will be the next part of the project as we proceed throughout the winter months. We did get, I was catching up on my sandpaper reading just prior to the meeting. We do have a little better information about beach replenishment than was reported in the newspaper. I think some folks, some mayors in particular, Mayor Grayson King behind the scenes. So we did get something in writing on Friday from the DEP and from the contractor in terms of the updated schedule for the barges. The barge Liberty Island, which is the big one that we're counting on for here, is going to, as they say, is going to return to Area 6 beginning March 15th of 2016, which is a little bit earlier than what was reported. Certainly not as good as we're expecting, which was January, but certainly a few weeks more is going to help us. They're going to begin pumping north to south, starting in North Beach Haven. The barge Dodge Island/Padre will return to Area 6 on April the 1st of 16 and begin pumping south to north, beginning in the Holgate Refuge, I guess with the idea that eventually they will both meet each other somewhere along the way. There's a couple concerns we have in this delay. One being, obviously, we would love to have the whole thing finished before our beaches reopen for the 2016 season, and hopefully with this somewhat earlier starts, that will take place. But then the other piece of it, and I've had this conversation with my superintendent, and looking, if there's one good thing about going last is that you do see what has happened in the other municipalities. And one of the problems after they pass through and have the sand is getting the beach entrances themselves open. And there is some concern about that, and particularly this little bit later start is going to make it that much more time efficient to get those entrances open so people can get to the beach. So again, everything hinges on what they term mechanical issues and weather. They do have both barges moved out of this area, so we pretty much have our fingers crossed, but it is at least a little bit better news that it is a few weeks earlier than originally anticipated. And the other piece being they did actually commit it to writing this time. So that's all I have for this evening.
Rich,
Yes.
did they comment on completion date or target completion?
They're
date?
still talking about what's in the contract, yes, yeah.
But they said that Beach Haven, Holgate Beach Haven, we should be done by mid-May, which is, but as Rich said, you still have problems. And I did talk to Frank Lobianta. Kellyanne did a really good article for the Sandpaper on this. It's very accurate. And he's working and doing everything in his power to speed them up. But he says he really has no leverage because there's such a lack of people in this business to do dredging. So there's not a lot of competition out there. So we're sort of between a rock and a hard place, but I think if people write letters and keep pushing, we might even be able to get it moved up a little sooner.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just for us, though. I mean, the bottom line is they have to finish, or they're severely penalized.
They have escape clauses on that. They're supposed to have finished by April the 15th, but they're obviously not going to be finished by then. And they're saying now, well, they have to remove the Liberty and take it down to Georgia, and it's a military base that they're working on, and therefore that
Wow.
gives them an escape clause out of their contract. So it's believe me, it's a mess. But anyway, it'll happen.
And actually, part of the explanation, Chris Constantino, who's our contact, was that they've discovered now that they're moving down to this other location, in that, you know, this environmental situation is constantly changing, literally the shifting of the sands. And now that they're down there, they see that there's more sand than was originally anticipated, which is going to allow them to get out, hopefully, weather permitting, a little sooner.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so, basically, that's the story with that, and thank you. I guess we're to the approval of the minutes without formal reading.
Have a special meeting of October 28th, 2015, an agenda meeting of November 5th, 2015, the regular meeting of November 9th, 2015, and the agenda meeting of November 20th, 2015.
I've read the minutes and I make a motion to approve them as written.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay. Sherry does very good minutes, by the way, and I find that when I read them, it reminds me of things that I haven't done that I said I was going to do. So they're available for anybody to read. They're excellent. Okay, then we're down to ordinances.
Ordinance 2015-31C, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 177, Stormwater Management of the Borough Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, increasing the monetary penalty for violating Chapter 177 and providing that violators, in addition to the monetary penalty provided by 177.9, shall be responsible for the cost of any environmental remediation caused by any violation of this chapter. Final reading.
This is the final reading of this ordinance, so we can open this to public comments. If you'd like to make a public comment, come up to the microphone, state your name and address. Is there anybody that would like to make a public comment? If there's nobody that wants to make a public comment, I will close the discussion and we will have a vote.
I make a motion to pass the ordinance?
Is there a second?
Second?
Mr. Paxton?
Yes.
Mr. Peeler? No. Mr. Maskell?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Ordinance 2015-35C, an ordinance amending an ordinance entitled Code of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, as the same in Chapter 27 deals with personnel. Final reading.
Final reading, is there anybody in the audience that would like to come up and make a comment relating to this ordinance? Okay, we will close the floor to public comment, and now I call for a vote. Is there a move?
I make a motion to pass the ordinance?
Second? Is there a second?
Second?
Mr. Paxton?
Yes.
Mr. Maskell?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes. Okay, we're with the resolutions within the consent agenda. We have a number of resolutions, and at this point, I guess, does anybody want to remove any of these resolutions?
Let me read the
Yes,
title
yes.
Oh,
of
that's
the
right,
resolution.
I'm sorry.
All matters listed under item consent agenda are considered to be routine by the municipal council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of availability of funds, and any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed separately. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. Resolution 235, returning street opening bonds. Resolution 238, returning curb and sidewalk inspection fee. Resolution 241, authorizing a shared service agreement with Long Beach Township as lead agency for access to the police department PowerPoint image processing system server in order to obtain license plate recognition data. Resolution 242, authorizing a shared service agreement with Long Beach Township as lead agency for mobile data terminal lookup services. Resolution 244, rescinding Resolution 205, 2015, and approving a new change order number 1 dated November 16, 2015 for the street end reconstruction Superstorm Sandy project. Resolution 245, returning park bonds. Resolution 246, returning street opening bond. Resolution 247, executing an agreement with Bonnie Wells of Coastal Living Real Estate for website development, maintenance, and marketing consulting services. Resolution 248, executing an agreement with Regina Lotito for social media services. Resolution 249, approving change order number 1 dated December 2nd, 2015, building demolition services at Beach Haven Municipal Building. Resolution 250, executing an agreement with American Conservation and Billing Solutions for alcohol alerting software managed services. Resolution 251, authorizing application to the state of New Jersey for the 2016 CLG Grant and Aid Program. Resolution 252, accepting a $12,500 donation for the Historic Preservation Advisory Commission. Resolution 254, resolution of the Borough of Beach Haven, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-54 and 40A:4-55, amending Resolution 235, 2014 to reduce the appropriation attributable to the Water Utility Fund of the Borough. Resolution 255, returning piling bonds. Resolution 257, awarding a contract to Mathis Construction Company for the 2014 Road Reconstruction Improvement Project, Ingleside Avenue. Resolution 258, authorizing the execution of the Stronger New Jersey Neighborhood and Community Revitalization Program Development and Public Improvement Loan Documents issued through the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, the demolition and reconstruction of Beach Haven Municipal Building. And finally, Resolution 259, canceling water charges.
All right, is there anybody in the council that would like to remove any of
Yeah,
these?
I'd like to discuss 250, 215.
50 to 15, all right. You
I
want to
don't,
remove that?
I don't wish to return, I don't wish to take any others off.
All right. Shall we,
So you want to go with the consent without 250 first?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
That's what I meant.
Do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
we have a motion to approve all but
Right.
250.
I would like to do that, yes.
All right, I'll second that.
Mr. Castis?
Yes.
Mr. Maskell?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes.
So then we'll consider 250 separately then?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so Jim?
Right, just for the record, I want to clear up what my letter to the council was this week. We have spent over a year talking about water bills, and we've done forgivenesses, and we've done this ordinance, which has two parts to it, one of which is a forgiveness till April 1st of 2016. And then it goes on for forgiveness for any other things that can happen in somebody's home, including one of the words that bothers me the most is the word mishap. So it means, in other words, it could be anything. When I first started to research this Aquahawk situation, I thought that instead, in lieu of an ordinance, that we would pass that because you're gonna be notified, the meters are gonna be read 4 times a day by this organization, and you'll be notified. So the day, if you don't do anything about having a severe leak in your home, that's going to be your problem, was my thought. At one of our agenda meetings, I went back and checked with Sherry. A couple of council members had thought that we would say, when Aquahawk was in place, that we would repeal the ordinance. Again, I was a little opposed to that because it costs money to put an ordinance in, it costs newspapers, and it takes codification. However, we went ahead with the ordinance. So when this program was presented to council that day, it seemed like everybody was in agreement with it, and a couple of council people, including myself, actually said that I would go along with the repeal once Aquahawk was in place, but it would have nothing to do with the forgiveness going forward to April 15th, or April 1st. Anyway, the cost of this thing is over $8,000 to start. So when we talked about it at the last agenda meeting, it was said we wouldn't repeal this thing. So my objection at that time was that I don't feel like it's beneficial to the taxpayers to spend this money when somebody can just ignore the notifications and you go in under the ordinance where it says any mishap that they have, they can, with a $50 fee, they can come to the borough manager. So for reasons of clarifications, I just wanted to have that removed and said why it was, because I was taken back at the last meeting when it was a vote to 4-1 to go ahead with the ordinance.
Jim, are you saying that you do not want to hire Aquahawk now? Is that what you're saying?
What I said in my letter, I feel like it's a good thing, but I feel like I don't want to lead it when I'm putting $8,000 of taxpayer money in, and if somebody else does it, I just feel very bad that we're doing this as a council and then having an opposing ordinance sitting right next to it.
Well, I disagree with you, and I think the Aquahawk program would be very good. We decided to pass this ordinance because we do have some people that have some huge water bills that we felt were egregious and weren't really totally their own fault, and we have no escape clause. We're hoping that all these will be settled. We know they by the end of April or April 15th. If we do pay the $8,000 to Aquahawk, we're basically, it's going to cost the taxpayers a little bit of money. It's a couple bucks on their water bill to have this service, which will tell them exactly if they have not just a leak, but a running toilet or any kind of excess water use. We're not at this point saying that if somebody comes to us and said, gee, I left my hose running, now I want forgiveness, or my toilet was running for the last 3 months while I was in Florida, I want to be forgiven. Because we have Aquahawk, we can say to these people, sorry, but we can't forgive you because you have the ability now to be able to see that you have a toilet running or you have a leak. And the way the ordinance was written is it's really up to the manager of the town to say that to people. That if somebody comes and they say, well, I was in Florida and I didn't know my toilet was running, if I were manager of the town, I would say, well, we have sent you all this information on Aquahawk. It's up and running, and basically you should have known. We're even notifying, we're making every effort to notify people, but it's all there. So they have to take some responsibility at this point. So personally, I would like to approve resolution number 250, 2015, because I think this Aquahawk thing is going to make a huge improvement for the town. And if we wait maybe another 6 months or a year, we maybe can rescind the ordinance that we passed. By then, everybody's problems hopefully will be fixed. We'll be able to see how well Aquahawk works. It'll give us a little time to instruct people on its usage and how easy it is to use. And then we can decide to remove that ordinance. And I think at this point, I would like to approve Resolution 250, 2015.
I think you said that you disagree, but it sounded like you agreed more than you disagreed. If you have, my whole thing is, yes, people have these things. I didn't agree because the ordinance says that we couldn't go back and forgive it. But I acceded to the wishes of the council and said, okay, if you want to do it and have these forgivenesses for these people when there was no other means open to them. So yes, forgive up till April 1st, as the ordinance says. Do all the forgivenesses to them, because they're the only retroactive ones. Going forward, if you have an ordinance that says, if we call them up and say after April 15th and say, you have a leak, and they say, oh, it's my shower, I'm not going down there, so they run up a $3,000 bill. Then they come to us and say, it says right here in the ordinance that I can get this forgiven, it says a mishap.
It only says if it is approved by the town manager. It doesn't say that they automatically,
No.
they have to apply for the forgiveness. If I were the town manager, I wouldn't forgive them.
But he's not cutting the baby in half here. That, he's got an ordinance on the books that he has to obey.
The ordinance says very clearly, though, that they're not entitled to forgiveness. They have the opportunity to request forgiveness.
And if you
That's all it
have, what the
says.
thing says, one of the things is that if you have a mishap in it, how does he judge what's a mishap?
But the town manager can sit there and say, we have this other, you and I are interpreting this ordinance that we passed totally differently. I can't, I can't express it any better than I already expressed it. I don't know what the rest of you think. I personally would like
Okay, well, I
to
just wanted to
approve this
get it-
resolution.
The ordinance is passed, and I think Aquahawk is a great find by Jim. I think it's gonna be a huge improvement for anybody that has a water meter, and I just think I make a motion that we pass the resolution on the Aquahawk.
I second the
Second.
motion.
Thank you. Mr. Caxton?
Yes.
Mr. Maskell?
Yes.
Mr. White?
No.
Mayor Davis?
Yes. All right, so that's the end of resolutions.
I have a bill list this evening in the amount of $1,606,162.84.
Has everybody read the bills?
I've had a chance to review the bills, although I came in late. I would like to make a motion to approve.
Second?
Mr. Caxton?
Yes.
Mr. Maskell?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mayor Davis?
Yes. All right, I now open the floor for public comment. Is there anybody that would like to come forward and comment on anything? Yes, please come forward, state your name and address, so it's recorded.
My name is Gene Farrow, 24 Pearl Street, New Haven. And I wanted to talk about our boat slips at the public dock. Now, in the old days, when we were clammers, when most of us were clammers, all those slips down there were rented out, mostly to clammers. And, I mean, on Memorial Day at noontime, one of the commissioners would come down and they would auction the stalls off. It takes about an hour, hour and a half, something like that. And now it's done online. Well, being computer illiterate like I am, if I wanted to rent a boat slip down there, and I did run a boat slip down there for probably close to 20 years, from the early 60s to the early 80s. You went down and one of the commissioners came down and you went stall by stall and auctioned them off, and whatever it was if you got a stall for $100, it was okay, put it in my hand right now, or the check. There was no, I'm sending you a check in the mail or whatever, it was pay up right now, cash on the, or a check right there. And those slips were reserved, they weren't reserved, but they were for residents of the town of Beach Haven. You know, either permanent residents or anybody that owned a home in Beach Haven or whatever. And now it's online. Now, I wouldn't even know how to do that. If I was going to go down there and I wanted a boat slip, next year I would show up on Memorial Day at noontime, and I'd be waiting for somebody to come down and auction the boat slips off, which takes probably about an hour and a half, maybe, at the most. but I wouldn't know how to do it on a computer. Well, other people can, but I wouldn't. But in those days, you already had your boat in the slip. It was there because you didn't take your boat out of the water except for one day to flip it over and paint the bottom and throw it right back overboard again. So everybody stood in front of their boat slip. And once in a while, you got bid against, but most of the time, you got your slip for whatever you wanted it for, however. And I would like to see it go back to that, because of one of the reasons is I don't, like I said, I'm computer illiterate, I don't even know how to vote anymore, but the way it stands right now, anybody in this town who wanted to take every one of those boat slips, if they had a lot of money, could sit there and outbid every single person on every single slip and take over the whole ball of wax. Do you understand?
I understand exactly what you're saying, I'm aware of this, and there's no way that we on council want to make it difficult for local people to get these boat slips.
Well, I'm not talking about just local people, I'm talking about residents of the town.
Right.
Whether there's summer residents or,
Right, but I'm talking about residents of the town,
Right,
too,
okay.
taxpayers here, in the town. And Sherry and I have talked about it, we have some ideas. Basically, I think everything's going computers now, but certainly any of us would sit down with any person in this town and help them bid online so they could get their boat slipped. But there's ways that we want to make sure that the local people can have their boat slips. And it's important to me, and I think to most of us. But we do have to make it fair for everybody, so
Right.
Sherry and I have talked about this.
well, they used to put a notice in the paper,
Yeah.
the legal notices that said, show up if you want a boat slip in Beach Haven and you want to bid on it, show up at noon time on Memorial Day, and you will bid on, starting from the inside and work your way out and bid on your slip to get whatever you want. But I don't think that should be allowed to be used for business purposes. I don't think a business should be able to go down there and get all the slips.
To that point, I think you make a good point there, and I don't know whether Sherry or Mayor would like it, but I think it's a good point. Maybe we can limit it, one boat slip per.
One per person.
We've talked about that, and that seems to be the best way.
And I think if you came down here on that day, I'm sure you would get help.
I mean, we could set up a little, we could set up a training class or a class to help people with computers right here, to help you, or anybody that is computer literate to get their boat slips. We do want to make it, we really feel very strongly that this should be for everybody, not for
Yeah.
businesses.
And it really works, well, I don't know, it's sort of like buying a cow. It's like when you're at the auction, you get to look at the cow, and you get to see it right there. You get to stand in front of it and look at it and see the cow. You don't see a picture of the cow. You get to see it personally. And that's why I think that somebody, and it doesn't have to be a commissioner, it could be anybody that works for the town. Could go down there for an hour or an hour and a half on Memorial Day and make a little showing, Because I remember when I did it, a commissioner used to show up and do it. But after, I couldn't have an install down there after my father died back in '83. And I think after that, Diane Marshall used to go down there every Memorial Day and do it. And now it's on the computer, and I know it's a lot easier for you and all that, but it's really nice to be able to be down there and see what you're getting and bid on it.
We do that with the bike auction still. So that really is like buying a cow you haven't seen.
Well,
because-
yeah, I know, because they used to auction that stuff off too, it wasn't online, it was you came there and like anything else, when you buy the cow, you pay the money.
We do auction a lot of equipment, used equipment, things like that online. But we'll take that into consideration, and believe me and the rest of council, we do not want to deprive the taxpayers in Beach Haven, these.
Exactly, I mean, I don't believe that a business should be able to buy, because somebody owns a business can go down there and buy them all,
Exactly.
the whole all waxed.
Well, he could send 8 people down to get, to
Well,
different things, so.
he could do that, but you still can't put up a sign and say this is for, I know
Exactly.
Tony Baldino never did it, but Michael Batista did. He went down and bought 6 slips there one time, I believe, which is about half of them, I think. And, that's, you know, that's just not right.
I agree. I think all of us really agree with that, Gene.
Okay.
And thank you for bringing it to our attention and the attention of the public, because we do not want this town to be, to not be concerned about our taxpayers and everybody in the
Right.
town.
And one other thing I wanted to ask too is about the $12,500 donation to the historic preservation.
That wasn't a donation, it was actually, it was a, and I was a little upset about that when I saw that, the way it was written. It wasn't a donation,
It
it
was
was
more of a
court
fine.
ordered.
Yes,
It was ordered by the judge.
yes,
Yes.
about 10 years ago.
Yes.
Ordered by the judge to make a donation.
Well, exactly. So it was a donation, but the judge ordered that.
Yeah,
So
so,
they fulfilled their obligation.
exactly. I don't know what the interest is on 10 years for $12,500. Well, nowadays it's probably nothing, but anyway, you know, it was not a donation, it was a court order, and Michael Batista still owns $12,500.
That's true, we know that.
Yeah. So,
We do
it's
know.
not a donation.
That's right, it is not a donation.
Okay, Thank you.
It was a court order.
It is a donation, no, it's a donation.
Well, it's
I mean,
a
I
court
wish-
order donation.
yeah.
I wish I could take 10 years to pay my bills, because I'd start living it up right now, because I don't think I'm going to be around in 10 years. So, but if I am, you know, I'd have to pay the piper, so I gotta take it easy.
That litigation didn't involve the borough, it was a settlement between the two parties, so we can't enforce the settlement. It was between 2 parties, and one of those parties was not us.
I see.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
That's true. All right, anybody else want to come up and make a public comment? Thank you.
Excuse me.
Anybody else? Anybody more public comments, or I'm going to close the floor to public comments? Seeing that nobody else wants to make a comment, I will close the floor to public comments. So now we're to final remarks by council. And I know everybody wants to go see the football game. Jim?
I just wanted to say, you know, the holiday season that we had our CAPS program the other night, it was fabulous. It's the true spirit, as we all keep saying, of the small town. They had the dog parade in the morning. The town is really doing great, and I want to say to everybody, I wish you a very Merry Christmas, a happy and healthy New Year.
Very nice. Chuck?
No comments, thank you very much. Happy holidays, everybody.
I just want to say, I think the Veterans Park looks great with all the lights on there, and wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. And all I'm going to say is that please, those of you out there in television land and that are here tonight, if you can write letters saying we want this speech replenishment done as soon as possible, every little bit helps. And I really appreciate you coming to the meeting, and I appreciate your comments and keeping us on track so we do the right thing. I appreciate that. And happy holidays to everybody. And well, I guess we won't have another meeting like this until the new year, so.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Adjournment.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.